one of the underlying things with safety is that you have the so-called iceberg theory, and I'm sure most of you would know about this. The iceberg theory, where you can see that for now this should work this way, that if I point my finger here, you should see it. Yeah. For one fatality, you have underneath the water a series of other issues, like lost time injuries. When something happened to somebody and he has time off for work because of the injury, or you have property damage or minor injury, or you have accidents with no injury, or even unsafe acts. And throughout this process of the period of the last 40 years, I recall that we first started to work with, well, if you had a fatality, you really had to take some steps as a reaction to the real incident that took place. And within maybe 5 or 10 years, we started to monitor very closely the lost time injuries and started to manage on issues on the lost time injuries. Now, throughout the time period, we now manage in a company like Shell the unsafe acts, because those are the underlying things that in the end cause accidents with no injury or damage, or cause property damage or minor injury, or cause lost time accidents, or in the end cause fatalities. So we don't manage fatalities anymore. We manage the unsafe acts. And I think that's the essence of good safety management, that you go through your hospitals and manage those. So major incidents can be prevented by managing the underlying causes of insignificant events. And when you go through that, you come in the end to a set of statistics, which in the company Shell, and forgive me that I still talk about this company that I've left 3.5 years ago, my blood, I have to say, is red and yellow. After working such a long time in that company, and you can't blame me for that. And it's still running well, I can tell you. The graphs here are index graphs, so these figures don't mean the exact number, but they're measured in million man-hours worked, or incidents per million man-hours worked, or per 10 million or per 100 million, as it may be in this graph. But the important thing of this here is that you see the yellow one, which is the total recordables, incidents. Here we measure, and we've started doing that since the end 80s, measuring the total recordable incidents. And these are just incidents like in the hospital where you've noticed that something has gone wrong. It's not done the right way. And you record that, and you discuss that with people. And in the beginning, when you set up such a process, you don't manage for that number to come down. You actually expect, when you start with that whole process, for it to go up, because you haven't noticed it before. People are reluctant to record those issues. So as management, you first sort of take a very open attitude and are surprised that after 1 year or 2 years, the number has gone down. And that probably indicates that people are still scared to report or start to avoid reporting. So you actually manage the system such that people really become open in reporting. But after a while, when the whole system is so accepted in the whole organization, you then notice these figures going down. And yet you don't steer on them going down. And if they are very low, and in a large organization like Shell, where you can compare situations in the Philippines with Brazil or US or UK, when you notice significant difference, you can then still start asking yourself, is it right that when there are so few recordable incidents in place X, are they really taking care and reporting well? Is it statistically acceptable that that number is so low? And very often you find underlying, when you start the discussion with management, yes, there is a culture of, well, we don't always write it down. We discuss it, yes, but we don't always write it down. And there you can then see that the discipline has started to fade. So you can, as a system overall, an organization, take action on these things. The other lines are indicating the blue line on top, as you can see here, if this thing now works. Yeah, no, I should. Yeah, the blue line, it's a very complicated thing here, is the fatality rate. That is indeed the number of fatalities that happen per 10 million man-hours worked in an organization. And yes, an organization like Shell with over 100,000 people working and another probably 40 to 50,000 contractors working in various construction projects. has 1 or 2 or sometimes 3 or 4 fatalities per year throughout that organization. Most of the time in the contractor area, even though one manages the contractor's staff in exactly the same way as their own staff. We treat everybody working on a site as exactly the same way. And when Wim referred to the situation around the workplace in our office, yes, our staff have and contractor staff have to accept the standard rules of how we work here. And the booklet was called, I show you, here you work safely or you don't work here at all. And that is, in some of our refineries at the gate, a statement that's very clearly present. And people, when they come in, they realize that this is indeed the way one works here. And it's even possible that at very low levels in an organization, now take a refinery in Pernis in the Netherlands here, one of the larger refineries in the world, that an operator at weekend service, when he feels that something is unsafe, he can decide to shut that plant down. He has that authority because safety has been given down to the lowest level in the organization to take care if things need to be taken care of. And I think that's the way safety has now ingrown in the staff of that whole organization.